Hey everybody, just a heads up. In today's episode, the first 27 minutes, for some reason, had some sort of weird technical issue. So I tried my best to clean it up, and I had a friend help me as well. Unfortunately, that's the best I could do. However, as soon as you pass that 27 or 28-minute mark, everything's perfectly clear, and you can enjoy yours truly, au naturel. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, sorry about everything, and I hope you still enjoy the episode. Add that special touch to your Christmas tree this year. We're talking satin baubles and Christmas decorations. Hit it. It was the 1980s. The Ewings were cutthroat on Dallas. Boy George sang Karma Chameleon, and satin felt and glass ornaments adorned many a tree. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Joining me is a Totally Rad Christmas all-star. From a Very Brady Christmas episode, it's Benji Pearson. Benji, how's it going?
So good. I'm so excited to be here today and talk about some Christmas decorations, something that I love.
Well, thanks for coming on. It's been a long time coming. We've been planning this for a couple of months, and then a couple of pipes burst and a couple of sick
work projects,
sick things. And so it's finally good to talk about this with you.
Yes. I because we've had to put this off, every time that I've been getting ready for it, I go through all the material that I planned. So I've gone through it a few times now. We should be good to go.
Because I've gone through quite a lot of bit of other material as well. So
yes, you've been busy.
I have. This is the busy season where I start releasing like 2 or 3 episodes each week.
Well, not just on your podcast, but on other people's podcasts too.
There is that running gag, yeah, that I'm the.
Oh, it's not a gag; it's a fact.
Well, tomato.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Well, we all like to hear you.
I hope so. I try my best. But first of all, forgive me, but how are you doing?
I'm doing really good.
You do architecture history, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm an architectural historian. So I get to study buildings all day and histories of places. And then I also teach a class at a local community college.
When do y'all start decorating for Christmas?
In my mind, I've already started, right? I know, and I have, we've started buying things and deciding how we're going to do things, but we kind of have our own tradition of right before or right after Thanksgiving, depending on when Thanksgiving falls,
gotcha.
To actually get, full on festive going.
Nice.
But we're definitely planning before that.
No, I gotcha. Yeah, we, I work at the Christmas store, so this is like where I'm working like crazy 6 days a week, sometimes 12, 13-hour days. So there's a lot of do what we did before, because that's all we're getting this year,
Uh-huh. Yes.
So as much as I would like to plan, like you're talking about, I really don't get that opportunity, which is kind of a shame, because one of these days I'd really love to just go super all out. I mean, we do what we can and stuff we've done for years now that's super traditional, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, it'd be so cool if we could add this year and do that, things like that.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I've noticed is I think that, with Christmas decorating, having the tradition year after year is very much a part of that, right? Mm-hmm. Not making it new every time. But what I've noticed is we will maybe do a new tablescape, or we'll do the tree differently one year, or do a new wreath. Just changing things up a little bit at a time, just having maybe one new project that you're planning.
I got you.
I think that's something that's kind of made it still feel new every year, but then we still have all those other traditions and traditional decorations that we've had for years and years. So that's something that we like to do.
Yeah.
No, we don't do a whole new plan every year.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, if it's like the haunted house, this thing's going to be huge.
Not quite.
You just turn it into a gingerbread house each year.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's funny because we have a few clients or customers, I should say, that every year they redo like a whole new theme for their tree. Which I mean, hey, if you can afford it, that's cool. It's funny because we've never really been into like theme trees. We've always been more like the mismatched, just
at your home or at work.
At home, me personally. Growing up. So it was like just a tinsel garland. We had all sorts of our own homemade ornaments, which I can't wait to talk about in a bit. But it was like that kind of thing where we would just kind of throw on whatever, and it would just kind of came together. And then the lights, and of course you have to have tinsel because it was the 80s and you covered everything in tinsel.
Yeah. And, as we're talking to my kids, because again, this is something we're planning now, is the Christmas tree. My kids want that tree that is their own ornaments.
Nice.
But for years, my wife and I have, we've done our own plan. And so what's interesting is they get a little older, so they're voicing that opinion of, no, I want the main tree, because we've usually, of course, have a few trees. And we've always kind of relegated the basement tree to be their tree.
Oh, I gotcha.
But no, they want the main tree to be their tree now. So that's interesting that they're showing that interest in that.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. It is good for them.
Maybe one day you'll be on the Great Christmas Light Fight then.
We'll just do more trees.
There you go. Trees are always good.
Yeah.
Growing up, we always only had one tree. Now that I'm older, we still really just have one tree, but there's also like a little 4-foot tree in the kids' room. And then just one of those like little 2-foot, mini trees that we put on in my son's room. And so they kind of have their own little trees that they can put the little teeny tiny ornaments on. And because it's in the girls' room, and my youngest daughter is only like 2, we'll oftentimes give them a lot of our like felt ornaments that we had growing up. And, that way they can't break and things like that.
Yeah.
But they love it. And it's cool, but we've just never really did the themed trees. And so when I started working at Decorators Warehouse and I saw like all the trees and like, there's this theme and then there's this theme. I was blown away because I didn't realize people actually did themed trees. I thought that was just like a movie thing, but no, it's a thing. It's a real thing, apparently.
No, here we have what's called the Festival of Trees.
Ooh.
And I've been going to it since I was little, but they're earning money for the children's hospital. But anyway,
nice.
And you can walk through, and there's just hundreds of trees, and they have all these different themes. And people bid on the trees, and then they can either buy them or donate them back to the hospital. But that's where I kind of started thinking about themed trees, because before, and we'll talk about this as we go through different ornaments and things, but before it was my mom decorating the tree, and it was not necessarily a theme, but maybe a color palette.
I gotcha.
Matching bows.
Right. I gotcha.
But yeah, that's where I kind of started getting the idea of these themed trees. You can have all sorts of themes, not just Halloween, or not just Christmas themes. But yeah, so that's exciting. As far as other trees, growing up, we only have, like you said, the one tree, the main tree, and it was always a live flocked tree. That was important for us. We have a lot of pictures of different versions of the flocked tree. But when I was about 10, I wanted to have another tree. And so I've written to you about this before, but I had an M&M tree.
Yeah.
Because I collected M&Ms, and then I also have a Coca-Cola tree that I did just because I wanted to have more trees. And cool, so thankfully my family was letting me do that.
And of course, M&Ms and Coca-Cola are classic Christmas themes now.
Right. Yes.
They've been associated with Christmas for quite some time, decades now, since the 80s, actually.
Yes.
M&Ms came out with those holiday chocolates.
Yep.
And then, of course, they had that very famous commercial where they meet Santa and, they faint. And then Coca-Cola has been pairing with Santa for long time.
The history of Santa.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like mid-century there,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. My aunt would do the Coca-Cola theme because she was just really into Coca-Cola. And I mean, as you can see, it kind of rubbed off on off on us here.
Yeah.
But same thing. She would just go all out with the Coca-Cola stuff, but not so much in the tree. Mostly just all around the house. And she would.
I have a permanent Coca-Cola display that it's not always Christmas in my house. So
nice. That's awesome. That's super cool. Yeah, we got some resin like polar bear pieces.
Oh yeah.
So we also had just like a big, gosh, I don't know what it's called. It's like a big button thing. It's a sign basically. But there's a particular like pendant or something. I don't know what the proper name is, but it's of Coca-Cola. It's just this circular sign kind of thing. So we put it like right behind the bears, and everyone immediately remembers that commercial, with the polar bears. And so, I mean, it's just a cool little thing that we did super last minute at the store. It was like, oh, we got these in. What are we going to do with them?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but so that's awesome that you could do that. I remember growing up, we, of course, would always decorate the tree with our own ornaments that we would make. But also, of course, we had some that were made for us. So, like my favorite ornaments were these little Santas, and the heads were like, those foam, like styrofoam spheres that they sell sometimes at Hobby Lobby. It's like that harder styrofoam.
Right.
So it was a head of Santa, and then the body had like this little wire frame, and I don't know how they did it or who did it. It was really cool. And so one of them was like riding roller skates. One of them was like riding a bike. There was a scooter. I mean,
these were homemade?
These were homemade. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
So they were just super cool. And I don't know, I think it was part of a kit. If I had to guess, it was probably one of those kits, that you could buy. And they still have those kind of kits at Hobby Lobby. I remember when I first moved up here, like in 2007, that Christmas, I bought several of those, and I made these little crosses out of beads, and I think it was like Q-tips or something. Just something fun. But so my whole tree was like decorated with that, and then whatever other ornaments I had, I'd throw in there as well. But I remember these ornaments in particular because I think they were kind of that same kind of deal where like you'd buy that little kit and then you'd put it together. And I mean, they were my favorite because Santa, and when I was little, it's all about the presents. So Santa was always my favorite part of Christmas because he'd give me presents. Yeah. So, of course, now I learned better. But at the time, that's all I wanted.
That happens eventually, doesn't it? So that reminds me of the Christmas ornaments that we used to make them at school. Usually we'd get two paper popsicle sticks, cross them together, and then wrap the yarn around them.
Nice.
And I always loved making those. They were more fun to make than they were pretty. But I always liked making those, and then they would usually go on my mom's tree, despite what she wanted to be all matching. Yeah. Kind of at the bottom, my level.
Well, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had, so growing up, we had like some very special ornaments as well. So there were some felt ones that my grandma made. And now that I'm married, we've inherited the ones from my wife's grandma as well. So
she did the same thing.
She did the same thing. Yeah. It's just a lot of felt ornaments that I guess was the thing back in the day. And it's a shame no one else really wanted them. And so we got them. Yeah. It's great for us, but
right.
So there's all sorts of things. Like there's these little geese with wreaths around their neck. She even made like little Franciscan friars, which is kind of strange, with little candles. And when my wife's mom was pregnant, so in the 80s, she made a little pregnant version of her. So now that my wife, we started having kids, we or bequeathed it, I think. So that was pretty cool. And just a lot of little felt ornaments that were really neat. And so they're perfect for like little kids that, can't break things. Cause of course, back in the day, a lot of the ornaments were breakable. They weren't that like plastic or acrylic.
Oh, yes.
They usually make ornaments out of now.
Which I like. I really like the plastic ones because they make them so nice now. You can't hardly tell.
It's very true. Yeah.
But yeah, we broke so many of those bulbs. It was just that thin glass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, the skill it takes to blow the glass like that thin and perfect is amazing, but it also means it's going to break really easily.
Exactly. That's right. Especially when you're in a busy house like mine or yours.
Yeah. So we had some of those. We also had these, and these were really cool. They were about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches high, maybe 3 inches max, but they were Charlie Brown ornaments, and they were like on wood, and they had little scenes on them. And my aunt actually painted them and then like varnished them so that they would last. And we have like a ton of these just random Charlie Brown ornaments. They're like the coolest things. And I haven't been able really to track any down, but I finally found some on eBay the other day. And it looks like it's by, or at least the copyright is by United Feature Syndicate, which is like the media company that actually owns like Charlie Brown and stuff like that. They would produce a lot of those comics. But I mean, here's an example of one that I found. I don't know if you can see it there.
Yeah. So what was it, like a kit, and your aunt made one of these?
Yeah.
Your aunt painted it?
And she did, yeah.
Those are neat.
And it was like right around the time I was born. So it was like right in the right around 1980. And I mean, it was just, so those are super cool. The problem is they're technically just mine because she gave them to me when I was born. But like, I want to share them with my brothers. But at the same time, I kind of want to make sure I get the ones I want first.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
No.
Okay.
Have I ever told you about my my Peanuts or Charles Schultz connection?
I don't think so, no.
So when I was growing up, one of my friends, his mom was best friends with Charles Schultz's daughter.
Wow.
And so one time I was just hanging out of their house, and we went with them. I went with them to this house. I didn't know where we were.
Right.
And they had all these Peanuts character pictures on the wall. Realized later they're all hand drawn by Charles Schultz. And I remember this old guy sitting in a back room. I didn't know who it was. It was him.
That's cool.
But I've told someone else this before. I can't remember that. But when I was young, it was all about Ninja Turtles, and
nice.
And other. I didn't really care about Peanuts when I was little.
Yeah.
So I just think myself now thinking back that I could have met him and didn't.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have very vivid memories. It's these cool paintings on the wall, but and this old man sitting back there, but I didn't know who he was.
See,
didn't make any sense to me.
And I completely get it, because the only reason I really was into like Charlie Brown and stuff was just because of the Christmas special and the Halloween special.
Yeah.
And later on the Thanksgiving one. Like that's really the only thing I really cared about. I mean, yeah, I like Charlie Brown, but I mean, when you have like G.I. Joe and Transformers and He-Man and Thundercats, I mean, are you really going to be into like Snoopy? I mean, Snoopy's cool, but come on, man. I mean, I want to see the good guys fight the bad guys and win, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been so cool to meet him though.
I know.
Well, I'm sorry. But
I've gotten over it.
Yeah. We're not bitter at all. But but I mean, those were like some of my favorite ornaments. And I think we also had some really cool stained glass. I mean, it was like a really thin plastic, but like stained glass style ornaments. That and some make it and bake it ornaments as well.
Oh yeah.
You remember the make it and bake it's?
Yes, definitely.
Those were super cool.
I had Ninja Turtles of those too.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think that was my first make and bake it kit, was the Ninja Turtles set.
See, that's super cool. That's super cool. I'd legit hang those on my tree right now if I had some of those.
You cook them a little too long and you get that burnt smell.
Yeah. In fact, I think I can still smell that smell.
Yeah.
I still have that in my nostrils. Like, oh no.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it was like a whole process of decorating the tree, you know. So we'd have to turn on the music, and of course we'd grow up. So it was the Time Life Treasury of Christmas, and then we always had to have the hot chocolate and the M&M cookies, and so we'd put the lights on first, and of course I remember my mom like just getting so frustrated untangling the lights, and but we were never quite the go up and down every branch kind of folks. We just kind of wrapped it around.
Yep, we did too. And the sense I've learned that it does look a lot better when you wrap every branch.
It does,
but when I was a kid, it was that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And same thing. So at the store, whenever I have to do our display trees, I'll
Mm-hmm.
go up every branch, and
Yeah.
especially with cluster lights, it's just like super full. But like
Yeah.
when I have to just show a tree to someone, and be taking the lights off real quick, what we'll do is we won't go all the way around. Well, we will, but we won't encircle it. We'll zigzag back and forth. So like we'll go on one side and then we'll zigzag like that, and so that way you can pull them off a lot easier and quicker.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm used to doing now.
There's an art to it. It really does take a lot.
There really isn't, yeah. And apparently I'm like the lights guy, because whenever they need to put lights in trees, they're like, "Oh, just have Jerry put lights in." So,
yeah.
so I learned very quickly I have to put lights in trees and I have to make it look good. But
yes.
But back in the day, like we would just wrap it, So we'd put the lights on, and then we'd start putting the ornaments on, and then we'd wrap it in garland, and then my mom would not get mad, but be annoyed that we should have wrapped it first and then put the ornaments on. But
that's usually about the time that I would go to bed. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And to this day, even if we help her decorate, she'll still like rearrange ornaments so that it's best, it's showing. But before we begin, or before we start talking about this catalog and these ornaments in it that we want to get to, but are you a decorate the back kind of tree kind of person, or?
Yes.
Okay.
But it depends on what's on the other side of the tree. And if I'm decorating the back, it's usually the ornaments that I don't like at all. But I want to still have it decorated, yes. Definitely.
Right, yeah, me too. Yeah, we tell, we have some customers that don't, apparently. And so they're like, it's going to go in a corner, so I don't need lights for all of it. And so in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, why would you not,
not even lights?
Do the whole thing, But no, they just do. As long as you can see that front, that's all they really care about.
Oh, so, no, Christmas tree is a 3D art, right?
Right.
I mean, even if it is in a corner, you still have that beautiful reflection on the wall behind.
Exactly. Yes.
It's a 3D piece.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'll help them out. I'll do what I can. I'll tell them exactly what they need, and maybe try to sell them a little bit more just in case. Okay. But at the same time, it's like, no, you got to decorate the whole tree. And I'm the same way. It's the ornaments that are not my favorites. They'll go towards the back. But growing up, it was always you gotta go all the way around that tree, and you gotta decorate the whole thing.
Yeah, I decorate my mom's tree. I've been doing that for about 10 years now.
Okay.
Let me just do it. And that's one thing that I do is I have all the nice ornaments, the real special family ones that I put on the front, and then I have some other kind of bigger ones, but still that reflect a lot of light on the back, because the back one is usually up against the window,
right?
And so the front porch window, and so you can still see it, but you don't have to necessarily look in detail. So that's kind of one thing that I've done is to still have a lot of light reflection and bejeweling, as it were, on the back side of the tree.
Right. I remember we used to have, I was talking about that like stained glass kind of tree. So I would always try to position them like right in front of a light. That way you get that brightness. Are you a multicolor light or a warm white light?
White.
Okay. Just checking. That's cool.
Last year, because my tree does have both. It will go from white to multicolored. And for years I've been white, but last year it accidentally got turned to multicolor. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's not too bad. that could grow on me.
Yeah.
And I think it is more holly jolly, I guess you could say, instead of just the peaceful glow of the white, of the warm lights.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Colored lights might be growing.
Okay, right on. So I'm multicolor. We always had multicolor. So to me, that says Christmas. Even outside on the roof, like my dad would put the frosted multicolor bulbs. Mm-hmm. But my wife likes the white. She's like the warm white. So on the roof, we kind of compromised, and so we do like just white, red, and green. So I get a little bit of color. She gets less. It's a little more toned down. But on the inside, because of the kids, it's definitely multicolored. I think they would go insane if it was just white.
I think that's where my kids are too, really, with it.
Yeah.
because, like I said, we had that option. We'll just never do it, and I'm kind of always, the Grinch about not putting on the multicolored lights, but they always like it anyway. So maybe we'll try it.
Yeah, they're not so bad. I mean, LED blue is a little bit harsh, but compared to like the old incandescent blue, it's almost like a teal kind of a feel.
Yeah, I could see that when you say it that way.
Yeah, it's true. And of course, I know way too much about Christmas lights, but
awesome.
So whenever like we're trying to come up with like the perfect combination, it's like no, okay, you need more of like a teal. You need it's not quite pink, it's not quite purple. It's almost like a maroonish color. I mean, it's all sorts of things plus the red, and then you need this one here, and then throw in a warm white instead of yellow, and most LED trees in multicolor usually is just warm white, red, green, and blue. But if you have the the other colors as well, it's like, oh yeah, that's good stuff.
So, I'm not sure what ours have, because I don't usually look at it.
Right,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
No, again, the lights are just another important part of the tree, and it's an art. The whole thing is an art, and I think that some people don't really realize that. They just kind of throw it up or get the simplest thing, but spend a lot of time. And I have spent many hours over the years decorating trees. In fact, when I was young, just out of high school, I worked at a craft store, basically like Hobby Lobby, but it was more of a local thing before we had Hobby Lobby.
Oh, okay.
And so I had worked there the summer or the winter, the season before, and met a lot of friends. And then the next season I came back, and one of my friends said, "Oh, I got to introduce you to this new coworker of yours." And so she brought me over to where the Christmas trees were, because in a craft store, that's pretty much what they hired me for, is to haul Christmas trees around, because I could haul boxes pretty well. Even though I'm perfectly comfortable decorating Christmas trees, I love doing it. But they hired me to haul boxes. Anyway, so I walk up to where they have all these Christmas trees set up, and this beautiful girl walks out of the forest of Christmas trees, and she introduces me, and introduces herself, and we went on our first date the next week, and within a few months after that, we were engaged, and now we're married. We've been married for 16 years. So
nice.
We met, literally in the Christmas trees. That's been a big part of our life.
That's awesome.
We were both there working just seasonal and working with all the Christmas stuff.
Right on, man. I think that's cool. That's like super cool.
Yeah.
Christmas trees in general kind of really were popularized in like the 18th and 19th century, especially. They came over from Germany brought over by the immigrants, and who really started decorating them. And it's just one of those things that now you see where all the decorations have gone. Like you think about Hallmark and like all the keepsake ornaments they produce every year. And it's just, it's unbelievable the volume that they do of like sculpted, original ornaments. And you think about that compared to like just decorating with like nuts and berries and popcorn and candles. So, it's come a long way. It really has.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite traditions, is to go to the Hallmark store and just look at the ornaments. I never buy them. I don't know why. I really should have started buying them a long time ago, but I love just looking at them every year.
Mm-hmm. There's some cool ones. And so we have a tradition where we buy at least like one each. It just depends on the year if we like them more, but usually like, okay, so I'll pick one that I really want, and then, my son will, and my wife and all that. And so we'll just kind of go from there. And so everybody gets like their own new ornament every year. And so we our tree, I guess, is kind of becoming a themed tree, and it's like a Hallmark themed tree now.
Oh, good. But there's a lot of memories created in there.
Well, yeah, there's that. Of course, we have all the kids' ornaments as well, but we're not here just to talk about trees. We want to talk about all sorts of decorations. And so when we were trying to plan this out, you said, "Hey, what about this particular catalog here?" So it's actually a 1981 JCPenney style wish book, and they have some interesting things in there decoration wise.
So cool. Yes, they do. And I want to tell you why I chose this one. I went through a bunch of different ones. Okay. I wasn't even born when this came out, so this isn't necessarily where I was, but I'm the youngest of 10 kids.
Right.
And so by the time I was growing up, my parents and family have kind of already established a lot of their traditions and a lot of their styles and all those traditional ornaments and decorations that they get out every year. That had already kind of been established in my family. Mm-hmm. And that was established in the mid to late 70s and early 80s when this, and I think that this catalog really just speaks to that time because for me, it carried on to the rest of our house. And my parents weren't buying a lot of new things when I was little because they had already amassed it. And so this is kind of the world that I lived in with this real early 80s. And it's fun.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff in here. I mean, there's some things that while we don't have these exact versions, we have things very, very similar. Yeah. So I got like all the Christmas feels from it. And of course, the nostalgia was just like hitting me over the head.
Exactly. That's what I like about this.
But you said you had like some particular favorites you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things with this is, again, it's the JCPenney's Christmas catalog, 1981. Mm-hmm. So if people want to look that up, or maybe you can put it in the show notes.
And I'll put a link in the show notes as well, so they can kind of follow along.
I just think that this is kind of like a really, I don't want to say crazy because that's not quite the right word, but really a good mix of this time of the 80s where they're moving from this real traditional time period in a lot of world. You have that 1976 where they're remembering the revolution, the 200th anniversary of independence, and so you have a lot of this real early American nostalgia, but then you mix it with like Atari and all this Space Invaders and this VCRs and VCR Betamax.
Betamax.
Just this technology that was coming into play, and so I just think that this catalog really represents that well. One of the themes that I love that they do is, I think it's like a traditional Christmas.
Right.
Christmas time is for old-fashioned blank, and they do this throughout the whole catalog.
Yes.
But then they also have Space Invaders and Atari. Yeah, and I just think it's a fun mix of the two.
I think so too, and there's, I mean, some of the designs actually you can still find or something very, very similar. So like on page 6 where it has like the those plates and like that whole dining set, we actually have some Christmas plates with that like tree, and even though it doesn't have like the scalloped edges, it almost exactly looks exactly like that tree. That's, I mean, it's like a full. There you go. That's how like timeless that is. It's literally just like a decorated Christmas tree, but it's really cool. Of course, it's got that 80s, kind of scalloped edge around it, but I mean, the design itself is just so nice, and you look at that tree and you're like, oh, I want that tree.
Oh yeah, it's just. I also love on this page above these plates there is a what do they call it? It's a punch bowl.
Punch bowl, yeah.
But some people might call it a wine cooler. But yeah, punch bowl, and then the glass. They're not the moose antler ones, but the glass goblets. And my wife and I were planning a Halloween. We were planning a Halloween party back when it was October, and we were talking about what we should get. Maybe we should get some, this old, type of punch bowl with glass goblets. Just for the fun of it. And this is a really cool one. That's kind of that real fancy look.
It is neat.
Scalloped edge.
Yeah, it's got like a red band at the top. And yeah, of course it's red, but I like how it's got like there's a little short stem on each one of these little cups, or glasses, or I don't know, goblet, I guess is a good term. So besides, of course, the little handle, you have that little base there, which normally, or at least in most of the punch bowl sets I've seen, don't have like that little stem at the bottom. It's usually just set it down at the rim and that's it. So, but it is really cool, and it kind of, I don't want to say it looks futuristic, but I could see how in 81 it would be, kind of hip and modern and kind of futuristic,
Right. Yeah, especially that red glass. And it's when we were talking about this last night, we were thinking, we haven't really seen a punch bowl for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
We've moved on to other things, not just because of COVID, but for other reasons. We've kind of moved on from punch bowl, which is interesting. Because I remember seeing a lot of punch bowls when I was a kid.
Me too. They were all over the place. And at like every party, you had to have the punch, and like it just kind of disappeared.
Yep.
So that was a shame, that it has kind of disappeared. But I like one of the things that I really liked was on like page 4. It's like this the bells of Christmas is what it's called. Yes. I don't know what it is. I really love this. It's like these 2 bells that are. I guess they actually play 12 different carols. So that's kind of cool right away. But of course there's like the pine cones and the holly, and it's, excuse me, 2 bells. It's 3 bells. Sorry.
Okay.
And they're like red and gold. So the inside is actually like red.
Yep.
Yeah. Which again, you can see not only because, the angle, but the bottom is designed. So, I mean, I don't even know how what you would call that. But it's got like little, almost circular cuts in it.
Yeah.
And it's just cool because you can see the red on the inside of the bell through that. And so the red and gold, I mean, it's just like those classic Christmas colors mixed in with the green holly and the pine cones. Just, oh man, it's cool. I'd love to have this actually and I know the perfect spot in my house where I'd hang this actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the cool one. I really like these 2. There's 2 pages of bells, and that's right, the line. Christmas is the time for old-fashioned bells. So my mom always collected bells, but it was only to get out at Christmas time.
Okay.
And I'm sure that she had this one. If you go to the next page, the page 5, there's kind of that over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go.
Oh,
I just love that bell, and I'm sure that she had that. It very much.
It's almost like a Currier and Ives kind of print on it, and it reminds me very much of like Jingle Bells.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a 1-horse sleigh, but like you get that same kind of vibe from it. It's like a horse-drawn carriage or a horse-drawn sleigh. And I mean, it's very idyllic. There's like a stone bridge on that bell, and I guess it's ceramic or maybe glass, but yeah, it's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not really like huge into bells or anything, but it's just something about it is like so nostalgic and so like I want to be there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel that way with all these, but there's so many different types of bells. And, like I was saying, my mom collected them. And so when I was little, I remember them. But then my older siblings started having their own children. And so the grandkids would come over and the bells started to break. And now I don't know that we have any of them left. But that was a big memory for me, is these bells that my mom would pull out. And they look a lot like these ones.
Well, and apparently, I mean, so if you read about it, it says that it's actually trimmed with like 22 karat gold, on the handle. And so, I mean, it just kind of reminds me, there was a lot of that in the 80s. They're like, oh, there's a 24 karat gold or whatever.
Yes.
And all the jewelry commercials, things like that. It was like a big thing about how many carats it was.
It was.
Yeah.
And then you realize that they don't actually put that much on there.
No. It's definitely not. But you're right. There was like that whole Christmas is a time for old fashioned blank. So like there was the old fashioned hospitality on that next page. And that kind of actually, it like really goes with those plates that we were talking about earlier. They have that same tree design. And I mean, again, it's like I can imagine like just hosting like a huge Christmas dinner with like all my family, my cousins coming over and just bringing out, the quote unquote good china, and it's all just Christmas plates,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. So cool. I like it.
Yeah, we have some Christmas plates, but they're not nearly this nice. I mean, this is very, very fancy, but we do have some that we use. But like, I love these saucers with the extra curl and the handle of the teapot or the teacup. They're just so many memories.
So it's called Happy Holidays Ironstone by Nico. It's a chip and crack resistant, dishwasher and detergent safe, freezer, oven, and microwave safe.
Yes, that would have been a big thing.
Yeah, because the 80s was a big microwave time, like a huge microwave time.
Yes.
So that's good that it's actually microwave safe.
I remember when I learned that you don't put tinfoil in the microwave.
Uh-oh, what'd you do?
So we have this New Year's Day tradition with my cousins where we order Chinese food. And then that night, we went to bed, I wanted a snack. So I put some in just the doggy bag that they had given us. And it was one of those foil wrapped bags. Put that in the microwave, thought it would be good to go. And of course, started a small fire. But I learned that's something you don't forget.
Yep, definitely. You're right about that. That's for sure. I do like the nativity that they have here. So we always had we had our own nativities, but of course it was like nothing fancy.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where we'd never put the baby Jesus out until Christmas Eve, like towards the end of the night we'd put it out. And
I had never heard of that tradition until recently. I don't like that. Or the other one that I've heard with people, move the wise men closer.
The Magi.
I love that. I had never done that.
Yeah, we didn't quite move them, but we didn't really put them out until Epiphany. I mean, some years we did if we just were in a hurry and didn't, weren't really paying attention to it. But yeah, that was like a tradition because, being Catholic, so we don't celebrate really the Magi come in until the Feast of the Epiphany on January 6th. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, that's Three Kings Day,
Yeah, that's so cool. There's so many. It's what I'm loving about all the different Christian podcasts. It's just those little traditions that I didn't really. There were just things like that I didn't know, and that's so cool to learn about. And how similar we really are. Everyone, all of us, really are in a lot of ways. But for me, I really like this nativity too. And I think I have one that's very similar to this. I collect nativities now.
Nice.
Growing up, we only had one, and it was the big white one that my grandma made, and no one touched it. Sacred cow, and my sister has decided she's going to inherit that. But so I just started collecting my own because I wanted to have my own nativity, and so now I think I have 30 or so.
Wow, that is a lot. Yeah.
And so as we get closer, when we start pulling them out after Thanksgiving, I'll be sharing those on my Instagram. I like to share, maybe one or two a week, or just depending on how what I'm going with it. I like to share those. That's a big thing for me in the past few years, is sharing all my different nativities. And I have them from all over, different countries and cultures and materials. And but I'm pretty sure that I do have one that is very similar to this mold.
Well, and it's funny because you're reading about it, and it is literally just a mold, and so you create your own, like with plaster, I think is what it
was. That what it's called here?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
It says just pour the plaster whiteware compound into the transparent molds, then paint the completed 3-dimensional figures by number. I mean, that's cool because basically it's like you design your own. I mean, if you don't want to follow their number and you want to paint it a certain color, you can.
Yeah. Well, and so the one that my grandma made that I was telling you about, she made that at a church activity, and she made 2 sets, one for my aunt's house and one for our house. And the one at my aunt's house is painted differently than the one at my house. And then this was in our area. This set was apparently very popular. So even still, I find these sets at the local thrift stores, and I've collected a few different versions of them. Maybe because you have to fire them, so sometimes they'll be a little bit smaller, or someone will have painted them differently. So that particular set has been kind of something that I always look for. But I have a lot of different nativities.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if this was a lot of money back then. It could be, but it's like you get the whole kit for $12.99, and it's like Jesus in the manger, Mary, Joseph, the wise men, angel, donkey, a lamb, and a camel. I mean, that's like a lot of figures for $12.99.
Yeah, I would think even with inflation, that's pretty good price.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that'd be what, like maybe $30 or $40.
Yeah.
maybe now. But I mean, I'd buy that. Heck, I'd do it.
Nice set.
Yeah. Personalized Christmas latch hook kit.
Yes.
That's
a lot
cool.
of those.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can put and this one has a fresh scent of pine. I don't recall ours ever having that, but we also did have something that said like the Davilas on it that my parents still have today. Yeah, that's it. I think that's exactly what ours smelled like. Yeah.
Dust.
But yeah, it was like a candle. And I don't remember if it said Noel or if it said Davila Noel or something, but it was just like a long candle kind of a thing.
I can picture that.
Yep. And of course the candle was red on the white background. It was pretty neat. It had the green greenery at the base, but it was like that. And then we had our stockings that were made for us. And so each one of our stockings wasn't quite that same material, but my aunt actually, so like she bought the stockings and she kind of like, I don't know, jazzed them up. So, the 80s, it was like sequins everywhere. So she added tons of sequins. And now it's like I see the stockings and I'm like, where are the sequins? Like I see these modern stockings and they're lacking that oomph.
Yeah. When you were talking about the felt ornaments that your grandma or your aunt made, my mom and her friend made some felt stockings.
Okay.
And they were kind of that similar idea, but none of them, what I liked about them actually was that none of them were Christmas themed. They were all kind of like different sports shoes or like an ice skate or something. Yeah. And what we would do, because again, I'm the youngest, so I usually get the last, and these were all really old by the time I was using them. But what I always thought was fun when most of my siblings were at home is we would put a number, write out numbers on pieces of paper, and then we would draw them out. And all of the stockings had numbers on the back of them. And so that's the one that we got that year. So it was always rotating.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of a fun thing. And
that is cool.
That stopped when the grandkids came and they wanted their own individual one. But for me, I never had my own stocking growing up. We always just rotated. That was kind of a fun tradition.
That is a cool tradition. We never did that, but ours actually, because my aunt, because she's very crafty, and so she'd like to do it. She didn't have kids of her own. She kind of considered all her nieces and nephews her kids, So she's also my godmother, so that helped. But she actually like wrote our names on them, of course, in sequins. Yeah. And so that's like that's my stocking. It has my name on it.
And you still have it.
Oh yeah, still have it.
The one you use every year.
So it's the one that my parents at my parents' house.
Your parents.
So I'll eventually get it back, but right now that's the one that so we alternate years. Like we'll stay up here for Christmas with my wife's folks, then we'll go down. So this year we're going down to visit my folks for Christmas. Because it's about a 10-hour drive, so it's hard to get both.
Where are you from?
In South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley.
Oh, okay.
Like around Edinburgh, McAllen, Brownsville area. So yeah, it's about 10 hours from here. I know, Texas is big.
That's a big state. Nothing is 10 hours within my state. 4 hours is a long drive.
Yeah. And that's because we're not even at the top. There's still more Texas above us. But so we'll be driving down there and we'll spend a few days there. And that's the stocking that I'll use when I'm down there. So eventually I'll inherit it. But for now, it's like that's my stocking when I go home,
But that's fun. No, my stockings, the felt ones are long gone, but my wife has made some really nice kind of quilted ones.
Nice.
All the kids have their own individual, and I have my own individual that I got to pick out.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, mine is interesting because it's like a lot of little squares, and in each square there's like a little different scene. So it might be a teddy bear, it might be like a candy cane, it might like that, and of course it's a multicolor. And then she outlined like each square with sequins, and then she added a couple of sequins here and there as well. So she like I was the first born from my mom, so she went all out with mine. My brothers, they're not quite as elaborate, although they still, she still did the sequin thing, but like the middle child, his is David, his is just like a Rudolph nose, and so I think his nose is red sequins and his name in it, and so that's about it. And then Danny's was like a teddy bear, I think holding a stocking as well. And so his is just like a little thing here and there. And so I always felt kind of bad for them because mine is like sequined.
Yeah, there are
It's
definitely
pizzazzed,
yeah, there are definitely plus and minuses to being the youngest or the oldest, right?
Yeah, you're right. Definitely right about that. But I like how there's a lot of like do it yourself kind of things in this one. So there's also like paint your own candle sets here. Yes. And same thing if you want to make like a little mini hutch and little figurines that would go in that hutch, you paint it yourself as well. And you still see a lot of little things like that at Hobby Lobby, but nothing quite so elaborate. It's usually just, here's a little bag of stuff. Okay, go, whatever you want to do. Whereas a lot of these include like paint by numbers. There's suggestions for them, with instructions. And I mean, it was just a little more elaborate.
Yeah, it was. And when I was first flipping through this, I was thinking, boy, I remember people making all these types of things. And then I realized that they were actually selling the kits. One of those that I really liked was this this Mr. and Mrs. Claus kit. What are they, like a needle stitch ring?
Yeah.
I can't seem to find the text for that. But anyway, it's just this Mr. and Mrs. Claus face. It's just their face on this needle, this cross stitch ring, and then they have this.
Yeah. I see what you're talking about.
Ruffles around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how I would describe that. I guess let's see. It's on the next page here. They're pillow kits.
Oh,
yeah,
pillows.
It's like an applique, and you embroider embroider your own Christmas pillows. So I mean, that's again, there's like a whole Christmas was like a thing, you did it all. You don't just like go to the store and buy it. And that's like, I think that's what's kind of missing today, I mean, not necessarily all over, but I remember like making a lot of Christmas crafts growing up. So like we have these little reindeer that we painted, and then in fourth grade or third or fourth grade, and we painted them, and then like we put them in the oven and like baked it on. And so like we still have those. I remember we painted some pine cones and made like little plaster stands that, and so dusted it with glitter, and so it looks like, a little Christmas tree, things like that I kind of I don't see so much in my kids' school. They still do fun stuff, but it's not as elaborate.
It isn't quite it's not quite as elaborate. And I don't know if it's just that we're so busy and we don't have time for these things.
Maybe.
We have a little running gag at our house when we get out the Christmas decorations. We have this unpainted ceramic train, and every year we say we're going to paint it. So we get it out of the box, we look at it and say, let's paint that this year, and then we put it back in the box. Think about it, because it just seems like life's just too crazy and we don't have time. But when we were kids, we did do things like this all the time. And they were fun. And, they
were fun. Yeah.
We still have some of my wife's decorations that are this type of thing. We have Easter and Halloween decorations too that she made when she was a kid. And those are fun to have.
They're super fun to have. I mean, they're so cool. And I mean, you knew like the teachers knew you're really not going to get much done like those last 2 weeks before Christmas break. So, we do some math, we do some reading, we do what they had to do. But then there was like I remember there was just a lot of like, okay, project, here's fun time. And there's like puzzles and all sorts of things like that I feel bad now for the kids nowadays that they're like, nope, you got to meet these standards. Let's do this.
Yes.
And so I know where they're trying to improve the quality of education. I get it. But at the same time, that's like during that time where kids are learning is like the furthest thing from their mind. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I've noticed that a lot of the crafts they do often are just like simple paper things.
Paper things,
yeah. And I just feel bad because we had so much fun doing this type of craft. You're learning different processes, whether it's baking it or painting it or stitching it or that's many fun things.
Oh man, yeah, but I mean, there were some great ornaments. So they also have, of course, some peanut ornaments. These ones, they're not quite as I don't know. I like the ones we had better, but But they had some really interesting designs that, I mean, like, what are these, candy canes and lollipops or something? I'm not even quite sure what those things are.
Glittery ornaments. Create your own. Is that what these are? Yeah, they're kind of a create your own pinning and gluing and sparkling materials on styrofoam. Okay.
Oh, 6 satin wrapped saucers. Yeah. Satin. That was like a huge thing at this time. So we had like satin baubles, and I don't know if you got to see it, but I sent you the like how to create your own little satin ball ornament. So, there's like a lot of hot glue involved. Some pins.
I didn't realize how time consuming those things were. I mean, I don't know if my mom made them or if we bought them all, but
I know that we had several. And I don't know if it was my mom or my aunt again, but she actually took some pictures of us when we were kids, like when we were babies, and she actually put them on the satin ball ornament. And then there's again sequins or little jewels or something that around, kind of framing it.
Oh, I can see that.
But I mean, to actually do the satin, I mean, oh man, I don't think I have the patience for it nowadays.
Well, and that's sad because I feel I completely agree with you. Like, I don't want to make.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you have to make 20 of those to? I don't know.
Yep.
I guess the individual ones you only make one of them.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
So I have one. She made one for my other brothers as well. So I guess there's only 3 there. But I mean, if you were to do a whole themed tree, because you got to glue it first and you put it on, and then basically you're kind of wrapping and then like overlapping. So you'll go on one side and then you'll glue it where it kind of intersects, and then you'll go on the other side, and then that same kind of thing over and over and over again. And depending on how thick your ribbon is, you could be there for quite some time.
Yeah. You'll have to link to that video too. All of the ones that you sent me were so good. But that one, as I was watching it, I'm like, wow, these take a long time to make.
They really do. And that's because we saw like the sped up version too, the time-lapse version. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Did you have any other favorites on this one?
Not on that page, no.
Yeah.
But let's see. If you go to, so this JCPenney catalog it's not just Christmas decorations. There's the whole
it's like a whole dream book style catalog. Yeah.
So on the next one that I have in order is 302, and it's where you start getting some. What's this? Quick-a-tree.
Oh yeah.
Here, the tier construction for a natural look, available in 2 sizes.
You got to have the 2 sizes.
2 different ones.
But I do like how it's decorated with the bows.
Yes.
So that is really cool.
So except for ours were always flocked in real trees. Ours were like this was like the type of theme that my mom would always do. And I'm sure, I know that she did this like exactly.
Gotcha. So it's literally just red bows and red apple ornaments.
The red apple ornaments.
And a few bells, a few golden bells with like little bows on them as well too.
Yep. Yes.
And that's like the whole theme. And it's actually like quite a classic look. I mean, it's very reminiscent of like how they would decorate bows in the 19th century.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of cool. There's a symmetry to it. And of course, now that I work at the store and I've seen the themes, I'm starting to appreciate them more.
Yeah.
Kind of like you with the multicolor.
We learned.
But at the same time, like I'm curious to see what this tree and this whole thing would look like with the lights on, because I think for this one, you definitely need white lights. You'd have to have the warm white glow there. And of course, this was back when they were using incandescents. So it's like that very ambery kind of golden glow.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty tree. Really
it is. It's just very classic. I also like the little instruments ornaments that they have.
Yeah, those are cool. We actually have some, not quite like this, but very similar.
We do too. Yeah.
Yep.
And I still use them on my mom's tree. We
still use them too. Yeah.
Most of them were destroyed, but because of all the kids around. But there's still a few, and so those are kind of some of the special ones that still go on for free. And those apples, I know I had those apples. With that plastic bright unnatural red apple.
very like high gloss,
Yes.
We still have some enamel ornaments very similar to these, like that stocking one. We have that stocking one. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Enamel was like another very popular material used in ornaments at this time. And I just remember seeing a ton of these, like whenever we'd go hang out at a friend's house.
Yeah.
Because we had 2 weeks off for Christmas break. So we were always hanging out at friends' houses and stuff like that.
And that's one thing that I love to do, is seeing what my friends' families had, what their decorations were. I love doing that.
Yeah.
They were always, just excited for what's going to go under the tree. But for me, it was wanting to see what they had at their houses, what decorations they had.
Yeah, exactly.
It was different.
Yeah, it was, and you might be able to, if you really like it, you might be able to tell your mom about it. Maybe you'll end up getting one or something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that tree. I thought that was really cool. They do have a few other trees as well, and some wreaths and things like that. Again, what is that? Is that cherries in that one? Christmas greenery. Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. Maybe it's just holly berries.
It's hollies. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, because those are holly leaves. So yeah, that was
right.
Which again, holly leaves. I don't hardly see holly leaves very much anymore. But it seems like when I was young, there were a lot of these plastic holly leaves, like this.
Right.
This all around. Now they just kind of do pine needles, but I remember a lot of those holly leaves.
Yeah, same here. And they just kind of disappeared. I mean, I guess trends change. This is an interesting tree because it's very like cardinal. Like there's lots of birds on this tree. I don't remember that being a thing.
I don't either. This one feels like what you might see at Hobby Lobby now. They have the different birds and the cardinals and the what do they call that now? Buffalo check. It's not buffalo.
The check. Buffalo check. Yeah, that's super popular. Yeah.
Yeah. But this one kind of feels like that, even though
it actually does. I know what you're talking about. And then like you contrast that on the next page with like the actual, and these trees, I mean, they're funny because they're like very tiny trees. I mean, nowadays you have like 9-foot trees. I mean, we sell a 14-foot tree. And they're like full thick trees, like there's some that are like 72 inches or 76 inches in diameter. I mean, this is
well, and I love on this tree. So this is this is a 4-foot tree, and it's lightly flocked on the end. But if you look right in front of the tree, they have this. What is that? All 6 of those strands of lights plugged in right there on display for us.
Yep.
On this tiny 4-foot tree.
Well, that was back. I mean, they're using incandescents, so they all need their own separate plug.
And when one of those goes out.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, nowadays, even incandescents are wired in such a way that they're in parallel rather than series. So if one goes out, you can at least just switch it out because it won't affect the others. But back then it was all run in series, and so one goes out and like half your strand or your whole strand goes out.
You knew it. You knew when it was gonna.
That's right.
When they went out. This one reminds me of number 4. What do they call it? They call these a set of gingham animals. These little stuffed old-fashioned touch for your tree. These cheerful red and white cotton gingham, yarn, and felt animals. We didn't have those, but I do remember. Again, this isn't quite the 80s, but when you're in the mid-90s, when my mom was really into Beanie Baby craze.
Oh yeah,
that was the theme for our Christmas tree one year. Was Beanie Babies. That was fun. That's what these reminded me of. These little gingham stuffed animals. Was when we had Beanie Babies all over our tree.
Nice. That's kind of cool. I don't think we ever had Beanie Babies on our tree, but that's still pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just a fun memory. I mean, I think we only did it that one year.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then we get like some really cool ornaments, like just the random, just the random stuff. So there's like polyester ornaments. There's some polyethylene ornaments, ceramic ornaments. I mean, just all sorts of designs. There's angels, there's reindeer, but they're all in that like aesthetic. It's kind of it's kind of Precious Moments esque, but not so much actually Precious Moments, you know. So Precious Moments are very stylized, but like that angel there in what she's wearing, it reminds me very much of a little golden book that we have about precious moments like wedding. you know?
Oh yeah, I can see exactly what you're.
Yep.
Definitely.
I mean, man, there's the dough ornaments. There's some of those.
That's what I was going to bring up next. Yes.
Yep.
Those dough ornaments. I mean, if you look at like the Santa Claus, so it's just the Santa Claus head with the hat, but then there's like an individual rope of that dough for this beard
for the whole beard. Yeah, it adds a lot of texture.
Cool texture. Exactly. Yeah, it's so neat. I always, when I was little, I remember thinking that those were like edible. They look delicious to eat. Those clay ornaments.
We carry a few dough ornaments at the store, and they're actually like shaped like cookies. So every time I see it, I just like, I wonder what this tastes like, and then I know better, so I don't taste it. But like the 7-year-old inside me is like, what's going on?
Yes, I always
it looks so delicious.
They look like they could be made out of candy, like that, or like a fondant.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like I would see, or I could imagine them making out of like modeling chocolate or something on, you know, like the Great Bake Off or whatever it's called, the Holiday Baking Championship, you know?
Yeah.
And then we get just a Santa suit. I mean, it looks just, I guess it looks just like a normal Santa suit. But you can definitely something about it, like just you look at it and it's very 80s.
When I see this, you can tell that there's a pillow stuffed in his belly.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's very square.
And that's like what I think of as 1980 Santa.
Yeah, exactly.
And now the Santa that we usually have that comes to our family party, and he's a real jolly old elf. But I remember seeing a lot of Santas like this.
Yeah,
the square pillow stuff.
Right. Yeah, the Santa helpers that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we same. Same. I recall them. Santa actually comes to our store, and he's cool. He's a cool dude. Yeah. So
just awesome.
But and then again, more of the stained glass type ornaments, and I love these stained glass ornaments. And you know, like I said, I would put them in front of like the actual bulb, so I would try to hang it perfectly in such a way so that it was right in front of each little light bulb, and so it just lit it up so awesomely. And then depending on what it was, so like on that tree one, I probably would have put that in front of like a green bulb. And so then you get the different shades from the green mesh clashing with the red and the yellow, but it really accentuates the green of the tree as well. So little things like that. And it was almost like an art every year about, okay, you got to put it like in this right spot just to get the perfect color palette. I mean,
and these ones on this page, I didn't realize this. I thought they were ornaments, but they probably are, but you can put a candle in the back of them. Candles included.
Nice. No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It is a votive candle holder. Yeah, that's super cool. Now oh man. Yeah, okay. So I know a lot of people, if they could go back in time, they'd, all sorts of things. But I think if I could go back in time, I'd like pick up some of these ornaments and just like all sorts of this. I mean, I'd totally, first of all, buy like 2 of every toy, and I'd keep one like perfect, like mint condition and just make like a ton of cash. And then I'd just have the other one for me just to play with, But, and here it is again, it's satiny zodiac bauble ornaments.
Yes, these are cool. And this is what really started our conversation, was this kind of satiny ornament. Just this simple ball, which I didn't realize how much time they take. But there's so many different kinds, and I think the only one that we have left is my wife's, which is from 1981.
Oh wow!
And And again, it's one of those pride of place on the tree. It goes in front, not on the back. It doesn't go on the back of the tree. It's an important one.
Put the good ones in front. Yeah.
Exactly. But it goes high up because we had cats and dogs growing up, and so I've learned that the cats and dogs can really ruin those satin that you get just like a one claw in there and pour it right out.
Yeah, unfortunately they snag, so you got to be careful. Yeah. But there was something about, and again, I'm not sure what it is, but there was something about satin ornaments that they've lasted. I think, they were super popular. Of course, then we get the bubble lights.
Oh, just one thing real quick about the satin.
Go ahead.
I think it's kind of like tinsel. It's just that reflection of light.
Maybe you're right. Maybe
it really adds to the tree, and so that's what keeps them kind of traditional and a favorite throughout the year. Whereas, sometimes things get dull, or like these cloth ones. There's cloth candy cane, and that doesn't reflect the light as much, and so it loses its glow, if you will, after a while.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's it, but I thought.
No, that's cool. And then the next page is like a lot of like lit stuff. So again, something that was really popular or starting to be popular in the 80s was that those little mini lights, but they were kind of shaped like flowers and things like that. So
those
like with the reflectors in them, that kind of a thing, just to really make it bright. So when they first started coming out with the LEDs, they had something similar, but it was a faceted texture. So there was little like diamond-like facets on each bulb, and that was just to refract the light better because the LEDs were so weak.
Yes.
Nowadays, because it disperses the light at the same angle, they're popular, even though LEDs have like improved quite a bit and are just as bright as incandescents now. And so the facets have kind of stayed, and you kind of see this reflective surface kind of disappear from the incandescents. And so it's just a cool little bit there.
Yeah, that is neat. It really has been amazing to see the LED technology. And I didn't realize, I know exactly what you're talking about with the kind of diamond shape.
Yeah,
but I didn't realize that. That's what it was.
And then there's just a lot of little mini strands here, but I do like seeing the C9s, and it's those actual bulbs that you would screw in, those old-fashioned bulbs. And so we have a lot of the retrofit bulbs as well at our store. Of course, ours are all LED because they'll just last longer. But
they do make LED of this size.
What's that?
They make LED versions of this size.
Yeah, C9s,
the larger one.
They sure do.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's what all our installers use, just LED.
Those are so neat. I love these big ones. I didn't realize they had them in LED. So maybe I'll have to get them. But my dad, he would make this. He made this wooden frame of a star.
Right.
And we would put them on the eaves of the house. And every year, you have to go through and make sure that those bulbs are still working.
Right.
Some of them probably broke and while they were in storage. But that was always one of my favorites. And we didn't do a whole lot of outside decorating, but that was one of the big things. Just because we had this Tudor house that had 2 or 3 eaves on the front of it, gable ends. The gable ends, and then there was the star. They always had these lights, and I love those. That's very traditional. One thing that I don't remember, and I'm only really learning about the last few years, are these bubble lights. I never saw those.
Yeah, bubble lights were popular a little bit earlier than this, like in 60s and 70s. And, but they were still a thing. They were still around. Of course, they get like ridiculously hot.
Yeah, which is probably why we didn't have them in my house.
It's probably, but yeah, bubble lights we still sell them at the store. It's the people really love them. It reminds them of their childhood. And so, I mean, I get it. I love stuff that reminds me of my childhood. So if we had used them, I'd probably have them on as well. But
do the ones that you have at the store, do they still get real hot?
They do. Yeah. There's still the old fashioned bubble lights. Wow. One of the girls she doesn't work there anymore, but she was in the lights section. So I'm in the pro lights, like the commercial grade stuff. She was just in lights, which is just, kind of lights for like your trees, stuff, just stuff like that.
For us commoners.
Yeah. But she was telling me she would still put bubble lights on her tree. She would still use those old incandescents as well. The big old C9 bulbs that would get super hot and you need like a million plugs for. But that's like what she grew up with. So that's like what she wants to stay with. And so, I mean, I get it. It's the same reason I like the multicolor,
Yeah.
That's what I grew up with.
Well, and this is where we would have the multicolor. It was outside, not on the tree inside, but we would have the multicolor outside. But now that they make them in LEDs, I'll have to start looking for those too, because I made one of those frames, those star frames like my dad had.
But this looks like it looks like that cord. I'm just looking at it quickly here. It looks like it's still that pt1 kind of cord that you could actually cut and just put some Gilbert plugs on, and so you can actually like make it fit your house perfectly. I mean, I don't know if my dad ever did. I think he would just do the kind of pull it side to side or just wrap it around or tape it up or something. But nowadays you definitely could just cut it and slide a plug on and you're done.
Yeah. The other thing on this page that I really like is the illuminated indoor village. It's just so you have these little plastic houses, different shapes, and then a church, and then you just have a strand of lights that go through them. And a few years ago, my sister found one of these at a thrift store and gave it to me. And so I have it. It's one of my decorations at my desk at work.
Nice.
That I get out every year. And I have people coming and stopping and saying, "Oh, I remember my mom had one of those too. I love those. They're really fun. They're, they're all plastic, of course, with a kind of mylar film in there that is wearing away, but they're still fun, and be careful with them because that's old plastic and cracks. But I really like it's just a real simple little village, little Christmas village that you can put a strand of lights through.
It's a sweet little thing. But speaking of sweet little things, we have another nativity, and that's super cool because it's like a big outdoor nativity set. And we actually used to have, I mean, it wasn't this exact one, although it was very reminiscent of it. We used to have like a big blow mold style nativity set outside. And I love blow molds. They're like one of my favorites.
Do you have very many of them?
We don't know. My parents still have a few, but we don't own any. Nowadays, the old ones are super expensive. And well, I got to feed my kids.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have any of them either. We did the blow up things in the yard. Which my kids But we don't have any of those.
The kids all want the blow ups, and I'm a little hesitant to do it because when you turn it off during the daytime, then they just kind of crumple onto the lawn. And well, I mean, I'll probably cave eventually, but for the moment, it's like we just got our house. Let's not do that yet.
Yeah, no, I understand that. They're fun. I've noticed they don't last all that long. They have a little blower motor, and then it kind of dies easily.
And then and that's what I've heard too. Of course, there's some Santas, some candy canes. I mean, not candy canes, some candles, some nutcrackers, and then like another Santa with a sleigh that's super cool.
I definitely remember seeing these ones on this page all over town. I mean, every single one of those I know that I've seen in real life.
Yeah.
Very popular.
And we get some more baubles after that, although these ones are actually not satin but are glass. But themed, like for your teacher, things like that. So I do like the one that's very, I don't want to say Norman Rockwell, but of the skaters, the couple skating. That one's really cool. I wouldn't mind having that on my tree.
Yeah, that's a really pretty one. And like Victorian ice skaters. This is kind of the one next to that, or the one above that, the special teacher. Well, not special teacher, but it was the baby's first Christmas. Is the one that my wife has.
Really?
Yeah, it's very similar to these.
Oh, I got to. That's cool. And they're actually keepsake ornaments by Hallmark.
Oh, wow. Maybe we do have a Hallmark one.
Yeah. That was kind of the end of it for me. Although there is one more page of like decorations. They were kind of a little odd to me. So like brooms where you just like you slide something over the broom handle. Because, I mean, if you're going to decorate, go all out, right?
There was a lot of that.
There was a lot of that. I mean, what is the 80s if not excess,
Excess. Yes. Absolutely excess.
Oh, man. Yeah. And I mean, it's just funny because talking about decorations, there was even a couple of, people even at that time were already complaining about Christmas decorations coming out way too early. So like, little commercial news segments as well about commercials coming out too early. And so, I kind of, or not commercials, of Christmas coming out too early. And so you'd get most of the people saying, yeah, I mean, it's not even Halloween yet. I'm not in the mood, others like, oh, I can't wait. It's my favorite.
Yeah, those are my people.
Those are my people too. Yeah. That's exactly right. Oh, man. But, it does make me wonder, like, what would you say would be like your happiest memory or moment of like your Christmas decorations?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. And, all of these really, Christmas decorating is really tied to a lot of my happiest memories. But I think if I could put it on one, it would be the bells, my mom's bells.
Nice.
That was one of my favorite parts. Was getting out those bells. And we had to be careful with them because I thought they were old. I don't know if they were, but the bells were on Christmas.
That's cool.
Be my happiest moment.
Yeah. So, for me, I mean, of course, decorating the tree was a huge event, but for me, it was actually, so in the like mid to late 80s, Dillard's had these little Santas. It was like Santas from around the world. And so my parents still put them out every year, but it was like, Père Noël for, France, or, Father Christmas for England. And the one that always made me laugh, it was my favorite. And not because I liked it best. It was just my favorite because it made me laugh so much. So for Mexico, it was like Pancho Claus, and he had like a big sombrero, and there was like a donkey by him, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm sure they don't think about Santa Claus like that at all,
right.
But
right.
But it made me laugh. And well, I could have probably been offended by it, but instead I embraced its absurdity, and I mean, they were trying
right.
to differentiate.
That's really what it was, is they were trying.
Yeah. So
didn't get everything right, but they tried.
That's right. that's right. You win some, you lose some. But
yep.
But I mean, we had to have, it's got to be like maybe 12 or 13 of them. And so every year they have like a nice display case that my dad used to display his classic antique bottles in.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he got rid of them, now for Christmas time, that they would take the bottles out, and they would put in all these various decorations and figurines that they have, and those are some of them that they still put up every year. And so,
wow.
I mean, I remember going to Dillard's, like actually walking in, and because it was on the second floor, you'd have to go to the customer service part. And I remember, going there with my dad just to pick up like one or two more that year. I was like, oh, the next ones are out that year. Okay, let's go pick them up. And that was like a thing. They collected them. And I mean, it was cool. I liked seeing all the different iterations of Santa, what each country pictures him to be.
That is really cool. I love that idea of decorating and getting a new one each year. That's how I feel with, that's how I felt with my mom's, the bells. Right. And then how I feel now with my nativities. We try and always get a new nativity every year. And nice. It's just that fun tradition. And I really like that idea of those Santa Claus. You should, if you get down there, you should take a picture of them and share those.
I plan to take a bunch of pictures. So my stocking, yes. I'm definitely going to do that.
All those sequins.
All the sequins, for sure. The Santa Clauses, just everything that I can imagine. So my mom also lately collects like a lot of choir boys, like little singing choir boys. Little figurines of those. And it's because my two brothers were in choir, and even though I wasn't in choir, I did sing as well.
You weren't in choir?
No, I was in band.
Okay, you were doing band.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, band was my thing. If I had to go back, I'd probably try to do both. But
yeah. I still want a full version of your theme song.
It's actually written. I just need to actually record it now. And I was planning to do it for Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time this year, unfortunately.
It really is a good song. It's
thank you.
Really good intro song. I love it.
Well, my daughter actually wrote the verses. So yeah, she was singing one day and she sang the theme, and then she just started singing some verses, and I thought that's really good. That goes with it like really well.
Yeah.
So
it takes me back.
I had to change a few words here and there, but yeah, she came up with the verses, so she's a co-author, co-composer, I suppose. Yeah. So I do plan on eventually releasing the whole thing. I haven't yet, but if I can swing it in time for Christmas, fingers crossed. I'm planning to try to get all my recording done before December. So in December, I can actually just spend time with my family and maybe record a tune here and there.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're going to do the family interview with your family again?
Probably. Yeah. I'm thinking I might do it with just the kids, like just me and the young kids this year. I think that might be fun, but we'll see. It might be everybody again. It just depends on if I can swing it schedule wise. But, now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I like to call Gag Me with the Spoon. So because we were talking about this particular topic, it's kind of hard to come up with our own impressions of something. So I sent you a couple of videos. One of them was the news coverage, the news story about decorating too early. There was one about the 80s. One was the satin baubles, a few things here and there, all about Christmas decorations. So as a guest, I'll let you go first. You can decide which one you're going to do. Just kind of set it up for us, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So yeah, I did decide to do the news story, and this is
yeah, me too.
It has the most character, and it was the only one of the videos, the links that you sent me, that was actually filmed in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't quite pinned it down, but I still think that somehow our dialect has changed from the 1980s to now. I can't quite spell it out exactly what it is, but I can just tell when someone's speaking from the 80s. Right. And so it's a news story, and they're talking about stores having Christmas up already. So that it fades in with it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and then it's the announcer, the gal comes on and she says, "Oh, enough already! It's barely October, and the stores are already set up for Christmas. Wouldn't you say it's just a bit too soon?" And then they pan to different shoppers, and they say, someone says, "It's just hard to get in the spirit this early." I would agree. I mean, we haven't even hit Halloween yet. And I hear that. I don't hear that. A lot of people on social media are saying those types of things now. That's when I know that I need to unfriend those people. They're mad
yeah, you don't need that negativity.
No, I don't. So I usually try and cheer up their comments with some less festiveness. But
there you go.
No, I really like this and then like we had mentioned before, the people that say, "No, I really like it." And I also like with that news article or that news story that they talk about why they're setting up Christmas early. And I think and I know from working in retail that it is important to be setting up that early.
It is. I mean, not only for because people need to prepare for it, but the space. We do need space.
Yeah.
But and mine actually, the one that I chose, and that was really good, by the way. But the one that I chose is like almost the line immediately after. It's the guy in glasses, and so the lady said, it's hard to get in the spirit. And he says, "Oh, I would agree. I mean, I didn't. I mean, we haven't even hit Halloween yet."
Oh, you even got all the different pauses in there.
Yeah, I tried. I practiced it a few times. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's good.
The fashions on that one, they're awesome too. Oh,
there's definitely early. Yeah, there's definitely some 80s fashion in there. Yeah. Oh man, you gotta love the sweater, with the sports coat on top. It's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, but it does make me wonder. G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you say the other half is?
Well, I would say that if knowing is half the battle, then Christmas is a time for old-fashioned hospitality and space Martians.
That's right. Yeah. That's good. That's better than mine. Mine was just if no one's half the battle, the other half just making your own ornaments.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I want to do. I think that I'm going to make that a goal, is to make some of those ornaments this year.
Nice.
Because I had such good memories of that time of doing those things.
Yeah.
And we really haven't, it seems like life is just too crazy. We've gotten busy with other things, but I think making our own ornaments is something I would like to try this year. So hopefully I'll be able to share those things.
Yeah, I hope so. That's cool. And you can get your whole family involved. And
that's a big part of it.
Have so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Benji, it's been so much fun talking with you. Final thoughts or anything you want to plug?
Oh, anything that I want to plug? Well, no. I've mentioned before my Instagram. It's Benji Pear 55. Come find me. I like to I post things throughout the year for all the different holidays, but especially on the 25th of every month, I like to post different Christmas themed. This year I've been doing the architecture, the architecture of Christmas, so kind of a different post on architecture and how that relates to Christmas. But that's where I like to share things. So follow me there. And then I like to, do my best to be a part of all of the great and amazing Christmas podcasts. So you can hear me sprinkled throughout, not quite as many as you are on, but I like to sprinkle myself throughout some of the different podcasts to be a part of them. It's part of the community.
We sure are. Yeah. It's definitely family there.
Yep.
So
yes, it is. Making good friends.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep. Well, thanks again. It was a blast.
Yes. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I hope to come on again sometime.
Oh, you definitely will. I can say with 100% certainty.
Great. I like those odds.
Well, on that note, I'm going to end it by saying Christmas is a time for old-fashioned handicraft decorations. And check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling like designing your own bright, cheery, felt, and/or glittery ornaments, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Now, don't forget to vote. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? There's no voting. Don't forget to check out our TeePublic shop. Later, dudes.
Do you long for those casual Friday nights spent in on the couch, cuddled up with a blanket, maybe some delivery pizza without a care in the world? Then I have the podcast for you. Hey, I am Matt, and I am the host of TGI Podcast. As a product of the 1990s, I want to go back and take a look at all of the classic TGIF shows, as well as many other classic sitcoms from that era, to determine if they truly are a holiday classic. We've got you covered with Halloween and Thanksgiving in the fall before we go full steam ahead with Christmas in December. Come give us a listen if you want to take a trip down 90s Nostalgia Lane.